Good morning. Hello to everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle panel show here. I am absolutely delighted today to have the Holy Trinity, and actually this sounds really bad now, and David Mintz. Now that's not anything anti-Semitic, David. It's just it doesn't work. You can't start the Holy Trinity.
It wasn't entirely anti-Semitic. So carry on.
Yeah. You've got Corbyn here, and I'm down here.
Whale.
Okay. We're going to discuss the niceties of digital marketing, and to have that, of course, we've got three of the key cornerstones to this. We've got the content channel with Mr. Paul Long, the undisputed guru, floating head of Facebook. That's Simon Whale copyright, so don't steal that. We have Matt, the content provider extraordinaire, video, YouTube expert, everything that needs to be done in a moving frame. And then over here, it recently returned from being pulverized by Mr. Watkins. As you can see, he hasn't told us who won the fight yet, but the fact that there's nothing, he couldn't even afford a green screen doesn't tell us that fight went so well. Mr. Jerry Lyons, obviously the Reverend himself, content provider extraordinaire, and David Mintz.
Thank you. Big consumer of content.
What? Yes, okay, but I thought you'd been losing a bit of weight then. Anyway, never mind. And actually, we should first of all lead again. It was not too far ago. Happy birthday to you, David. You're looking resplendent.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful, wonderful occasion, and I'm glad that Jerry, Paul, and Matt could have joined me. I'm sorry, Simon, you didn't get an invite to the party, but it was great, wasn't it, boys?
Really good. Really good.
I was at one of my top 35 influential parties, so I couldn't have made it anyway. Right, guys, what's the minimum an agent should be doing at the moment in terms of digital marketing? And Jerry, because you said you'd written down 4 sets of notes, I'm coming to you first.
I meant 4 notes, as in I don't know the answer. 5 notes.
Just keep reading it out.
So just minimum for me, obviously, because I come from the written word, the world of the written word, would be a blog. Because a blog, you can form the cornerstone of a lot of your written content. It can be used on your website. It can be used in your email marketing. If it's short enough, it can be used on your social media feeds, and it can be broken into sort of bite-sized sort of chunks that you can put out there on social media. So in terms of a minimum for me, it would be the bare minimum has to be a blog, and it has to be at least weekly.
And Jerry, how important is that it's the owner of the business, or that it's at least somebody from within the business doing that? Because there are a number of obviously outsourced options here. Is that perfectly acceptable, or do you need to have to be able to put your own personality into these, do you think? Or is it just important to get started?
It's perfectly acceptable to have a ghostwriter. That's the service we provide, and Chris Watkin provide, and others provide, is a ghostwriting service. So we'd write the content for the agent. The agent can tweak the content if they want. I've found in my experience that the agents that try to do it themselves often start off really well, but then realize it's quite a big commitment to get out a weekly blog of 400, 500 words, and then it falls by the wayside. There's only one thing worse than no blog, and that's an old blog. If you've got an old blog sitting on your website, that sends out the wrong message, brothers and sisters.
They haven't found it yet, but it's worth searching.
Have you read my very interesting blog about home information packs and how they're going to revolutionize our industry?
I'll try and find it and bookmark it.
There's still 7 subscribers on that. I've still got out there somewhere. If you search for the Simon Whale Repeat blog, there was mine that I did, and as you said, Jerry, just didn't come back. So that's the same as any marketing, or dare I say advertising, where consistency is absolutely the key here, isn't it? Just to make sure you stay in the okay. Yeah. Paul, what about you? What do you think the cornerstones are at the moment in terms of the minimum you should be doing?
Yeah, I think that word you said, consistency, follows over to Facebook as well, and the social media platforms. So from my side, just doing that regular video or the regular article has a huge impact on how your post gets pushed, on an organic basis, let alone a paid basis. So Facebook rewards for consistency. I do think that video is a huge benefit on the basis that you've got those three pillars of content from a video. You've got visual, sound, and written that you can pull from it. So that's why I do a lot of video. And I think agents can benefit if they can get around doing videos. That's where they're going to benefit as well, having more than one bit of content from that.
That would have been really awkward if you said you hated video there, and I said, "No,
Well, obviously, like we do dovetail with everyone on the screen, really. But yeah, consistency. It's no good. I mean, fair play if you've got the gumption to be in front of camera and promote your own business or give out some information. I mean, we always say there's get videos and there's give videos. So you're trying to get something from your potential client, or you're trying to give something. So I think if we go back into this, I mean, obviously Simon, you're a bit ahead of the curve with the level 3 lockdown coming, but it's a case of like just being present, being in front of people, and that consistency from producing a little video, even if it's a 30-second or a minute video. It's the fact that you're especially hyper local to your area, you're in front of people. So yeah, I mean, we'd say 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But
still talking about video, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it works for many rules in life, Simon. But yeah, consistency. Because, it breeds. I mean, we'll probably talk about this later, but the know, like, and trust thing that a lot of successful people bang on about. I know Seth Godin was talking about it the other week about getting to know someone and sort of providing that like and trust before they actually meet you. And it's, we always say when we do video training, it's like if you bumped into Phil or Holly, like off the telly, I don't know them, like maybe most people don't, but there is a level of trust because they see them every day and they're nice people. And you think, yeah, I could probably go for a beer with them. And that's sort of the consistency will breed that eventually with video as well, we think. So, yeah.
I think you've bought into that hyper-local element there that Matt's talking about, haven't you, by owning your postcode essentially, or at least putting yourself out there as the expert?
Effectively, I think if you do it, if your frequency is enough, you're going to get that compound effect of people coming up to you and saying, I see you everywhere. You're in every social media feed. I see your videos all over the place. I see your property tours. And whether they like you or they love you, they certainly know you, and they're going to associate you with the business of house buying or house selling. And that's half the battle won. So when you come to sell your house, you're going to think, in this postcode, I'd like to think you think of my beautiful face. And then you will ask my opinion. So at the very, very least, I'm going to get a chance of winning that business. Yeah. And I think if you can win trust as well, you're that fellow off the telly. You're not just a random stranger walking into somebody's home. Let's not forget the environment in which I have to pitch for business is the most hostile environment you can be in. You're in somebody else's home. That is their castle. They feel very comfortable there. You're a total stranger. So anything that gives you that edge on sort of familiarity and perhaps trustworthiness, it's a winner.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this like really quite successfully now, David, for a while. But how long did it really take you to become good at it? What was the awkward steps you had to kind of get past?
I think you just need to get past that first or second video where you think, oh, I'm just another schmuck talking into my phone, and getting past all of that and just really sort of going for it. And once you do, you gather momentum, and it becomes part of your routine. Let's face it, as an agent, you're there anyway. So you're at the property, you're taking photos, you're doing whatever it is. If you can't take another 2 minutes out to point out the main sales features and walk somebody around the house, well, you shouldn't be there anyway. And I just think it's a no-brainer now. It's something that's now second nature. I'm not saying it's particularly good. The production quality is not amazing, but it's raw. It's what people want to watch.
But you're like the Mona Lisa. They just can't take their eyes off you.
I've got to tell you that I took all my inspiration from you say Mona Lisa, but it was Lisa Novak in Australia. Somebody who I think, most of us would agree has got the edge on me in terms of being slightly more attractive. She's a pleasure to watch at any time. I'm not so I have to make my content relevant.
By the way, David, we've been looking for your own vehicle on the Kerfuffle podcast. I think the title "Just Another Schmuck" is made for you.
Thank you,
guys. That's easy enough to talk about. Obviously, the minimum we should do, but really brass tacks. Can you put a level on how much people should be investing in digital marketing? Is it literally you could say they should be investing £200 a month in Facebook? X amount there. Should it be a percentage of turnover? Are there any sort of barometers that people can benchmark?
I'd just jump in quick. We always bang on about the Rightmove revolution, and Chris and I in particular, and Watkins as well, actually. Watkins, should I say? But you go back to how much a full page newspaper ad used to be 15, 20 years ago, and you'd be paying £1,000 a week. Now, Rightmove, some agents pay more, but what's the average? About 900 odd quid a month. So actually, is it that bad value? And then when you start mixing that in with other stuff like a blog or a podcast or a video every 2 or 3 times a week, then maybe you should be matching your Rightmove spend, or spending 500 quid, half of what you spend on Rightmove, because everyone's on there. But also, going back to David's point about just another schmuck, no one else knows that you're another schmuck.
You'd be surprised how many people think I'm another schmuck.
Your average Joe watching a video that David or Jerry or whoever makes on the sofa on a Sunday night or a Wednesday evening, they're not Barry Norman off of film night. They're not that into film that they'll start picking bad edits or sort of jump cuts or slightly bad audio. We bang on about having good audio, but the fact that you're, like David said, the TV personality on their local TV screen is more than enough. They're not looking to criticize how you've made the video, whether it looks any good. You're just giving them the content. So I think Paul will tell you, but we asked him the other week, what could you do with some Facebook spend with a video? And Paul said, if you put £5 a day behind it, you can do some real damage. Now, to do some real damage at 300 quid a month seems a no-brainer to us. So,
Yeah. And what should be the priority, though? It's easy to. I think one of the things that baffles people, worries people, is where do they start, but also what they should be prioritizing.
Go on, Jerry.
No, go on, Paul.
I was going to say that I think if you lead with value, you can't go wrong. And I also think a lot of the time agents aren't thinking about, spontaneous content and also questions they're being asked all the time. People just want to have value from the content. So, and the questions they're being asked every day is what people want to know. So they've got content straight away at their hands, even before having to sit down and write big blog articles. It's just really sort of writing down those questions you're asked at the valuation when people walk into your office and sharing it on a bigger platform, and very powerful platform.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, the question of you said how much to spend, but that's relevant. But I think it's about when to spend, because there's a mistake that I know 95% of estate agents do, and they pull out of advertising at the wrong time. The best time to advertise your estate agency as a brand is Christmas. And everyone used to pull out of the newspapers at Christmas. I've got a massive magazine company, biggest independent magazine company in the Southeast. And he deals with hundreds of agents, hyper-local magazines. He says he's always baffled when estate agents go, I won't advertise December, I won't advertise January. It's like, you dummies, all your competition have pulled out. It's an open field for you to go in and get attention. It's the same during lockdown. Any agent that upped their marketing spend in lockdown came out of it stronger. Across the board.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Market in the downtimes, because you're not saying spend an extra 10 grand a month on marketing. We're just saying put a few £100 behind it and be that guy that hasn't crawled back into his hole and is furloughed him, him and his staff. Be out there. And like Paul says, a lot of this content's, 20 years in the making. It's already in agents' heads. They just don't know how to get it out of their head in a nice content way. And that goes back to the give and get videos. If you want to give value, then do a video specifically for landlords. Do a video for first-time buyers. What are they looking for? What questions should they ask? For landlords, same again. Like, give them some value. And what people doing during lockdown? Yeah, they're working, but they're also on the phones and the internet more. So
what you say there, Matt, about what was it, give and get? Because I 100% agree. But because I can't remember anything because I've had too many blows to the head recently. We use an acronym called PIGS. Which is, if you can answer problems, interests, goals, and stresses of your audience with your content, you're not going to go far wrong. And that's you could create so much content sitting down and write, what's the problem of the landlord? What's the interest of the first-time buyer? What's the goal of the house seller who's been overvalued? Yeah. And what's the stress of somebody who's currently using an estate agent who's rubbish? Like that sort of thing. So yeah,
I'm having that one. Yeah,
or copyright. I've looked into
Jerry, do you think that dynamic you've just spoken about there during, obviously this is fairly unique, the pandemic, but downturn certainly it's true because market shares change quite radically. Do you think that's because there is such a void there that people who do the counterlogical things can take a more marked advantage, where in a normal marketplace, everyone's kind of more towards the top of their game?
There's a classic example of that, and it's Nike in, I think it was the early 90s recession. Reebok had a bigger market share than them going into, I think it was 91, 92 might have been. But Reebok, when the recession hit, said, no, we're going to really just stop all of our marketing and really cut it down. Nike went the other way, and they called it the play to win approach. They just went boom. So when the recession ends, as all this recession and pandemic and all, we will get back to a normal. But Nike had come out of that recession so much stronger. And Reebok, well, the rest is history. They never caught up. So Buffett's got...
That's really good to know because, early 90s, I wasn't even born then. So,
You're about 30 then.
You were probably dancing around the hacienda in aforementioned Reebok classics.
Yeah.
This isn't a panel show for that. To anyone interested, guys, these are the experts. They are, as I said, the Holy Trinity and David. So reach out to Jerry, Paul, and Matt, all on Facebook. You can find them very easily, or drop us a line here at Kerfuffle. We'll pass on your details. These are the people to carry you through. Okay, guys, thank you very much for that. Have a great one. Have a great week.
Yeah, guys.